This is From Maine with Love, an Allagash brewing podcast where we talk about beer, our community here in Maine, and things that generally make us happy. Season 3.
Is it?
Season 3.
Oh,
From Maine with Love. Episode 1. We got 3 things that are making me quite happy to talk about. 4 things. 4 things, actually. One of these things contains 2 things. So, yeah. Hi, Liz.
Hey, Brett.
Got to start Season 3, Episode 1 with a secret question that I think Liz has had probably like 2 weeks to think about at this point.
Yeah, yep. A little scheduling
a while
conflicts.
ago.
Oh.
That's okay. Liz, what's your favorite secret ingredient to cook with?
I'm glad I've actually known this for 2 weeks and haven't given it one thought at all. Because I feel like you usually have a secret question and then you have a secret question.
Yeah,
I was like, this isn't it.
Sometimes you gotta switch it up.
Gosh, I don't. Favorite?
It doesn't have to be secret. Just like an ingredient that you like when you throw it in there, you're like, oh yeah.
I feel that way about cilantro. Like if I add cilantro to anything, I'm like, yes.
You're really showing them something.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, I probably put like speaking of younger years, like had very few cooking abilities, but I used to just roast cauliflower all the time and I would make it with cumin and all sorts of just random things. And a college roommate was just like, you cook with cumin way too much.
Cumin was
and
the
I was
crush.
just making cumin cauliflower all the time.
I mean, I bet it's good. If you throw some salt on there too, that'd be great.
It was,
That's nice.
Affordable, easy.
Very very white.
Yeah.
A lot of cauliflower.
Yeah.
What did you have one for me? I could also
I
answer
do.
this
No, I
question.
do have it. I have one for you, Brett. If you were not living in Maine, where do you think you'd live?
Wow. That's a really good question.
And you've lived a few places, so.
I've lived a few places. I'm going to say, I'm just going to kind of go into my past and say probably somewhere near New York City-ish, because that was almost where I went when I was coming back to Maine. I almost went back to New York City. So somewhere potentially around there or somewhere near Detroit. The Metro Detroit area is so cool. So many nice people, such like ridiculously rich culture there. The first paved road in America.
Who knew?
Detroit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Woodward Avenue.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what I thought you'd say, but.
All right. The first topic we have to talk about is 2 topics in one.
Yep.
And it's to commemorate, celebrate the beginning of Black History Month, because that's February 1st. That's the day we're recording this today.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 2 really exciting collaborations that are both out in the world now. The first, we are so excited to bring back Cur-8, which is our collaboration with Crowns and Hops in California. We released that beer a year ago and have been, lucky enough to do that again. So that is available not only in our tasting room, but it's got a bit of distro with it. So exciting that people can find it out in the market too.
Oh yeah, we'll read out those states. Yeah. I'll read them right now. California, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, Connecticut, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and New York.
Yeah.
And so that beer is actually a combination of 2 beers. It's like a really interesting collaboration because most collaborations are both breweries come up with an idea and they brew one idea. This actually, the idea was to combine 2 existing beers. So it's from Crowns and Hops, it's their 8 Trill Pils, and from Allagash, it's our Curio. So there's Pilsner. Ours is a triple aged in bourbon barrels. And I had written the blend down here, and that was wrong. So I had to change because it's actually more. I wrote it's only 8% Curio. It's 20% Curio. 20% Curio, 80% 8 Trill Pils. Really cool.
It's a great beer.
Good.
I feel like we create a lot of interesting beers here, but this one, I don't know, something, I love a Pilsner, but you have a little something you get a little bit of that Curio in it.
Totally.
And so there's like a touch of sweetness to me.
Yeah.
And it is just so delicious.
Yeah, it's like those. It's a nice crisp beer, but it's that like perceived sweet notes of like caramel, vanilla, and oak is what we say that you get from the bourbon barrel aging in Cur-8, and also Triple is a beer that has some nice perceived sweetness too. So it's just a really like deep, sort of like easy drinking beer. And then also a little cool wrinkle and another added detail to this is T.O. Hunter, one of the founders of Crowns and Hops. The first beer that introduced him to craft beer was Cur-8. A friend of his showed him that. So it's like a really cool full circle moment and just means a lot. And then another aspect of that beer, part of the proceeds for that beer will be going to the 8 Trill initiative that Crowns and Hops founded.
Yeah, a development fund with the goal of achieving racial equity in craft beer. And so, they've been running this fund for a while now, and they've been giving out grants to other Black-owned breweries to help with their brewing operations. And so, like we did last year, we're contributing proceeds from this beer. So,
and that actually ties really nicely into the next beer, which is Verb, that we did a collaboration with Montclair Brewery. And Montclair Brewery is actually a previous recipient of an 8 Trill initiative grant.
Yeah, a nice woven sort of fabric of, working with these different breweries. But there's so much that kind of overlaps.
Totally.
Yeah, and Denise and Leo came up in December, and we brewed Verb, and they had a couple days up here in Portland, Maine, and it was just amazing to have them in the brewery and to talk with them and enjoy some time. They're just amazing people.
Yeah, super nice, creative people. It was just interesting, too, talking to them, like how much community means to them and their brewery. And definitely, it's same thing for Crowns and Hops, and honestly, same thing for us, is that like community is this really building that community, bringing in more people to be able to kind of enrich the community. Like that's all, it's like everyone apropos of nothing, they're like, totally outside of each other came to that same conclusion. So that was really cool. So Verb the beer is a lager with lemon verbena. So the verb is from the verbena. But it's also kind of this thought of like action needs to be taken, and we're actually like Verb is doing something. And so it's about, the action of coming together, the action of supporting the 8 Trill initiative and everything like that. So it's just a cool beer. And it's also just, again, like easy drinking beer, but really tasty. That lemon verbena comes through, but it's just kind of blended into these other sort of lager flavors that you're used to getting. So tasty.
Yeah, and this one is available in our tasting room starting today, February 1st, and then it's going to be available at select retailers in New Jersey starting March 1st. So both Cur-8 from Crowns and Hops and Verb with Montclair, you can look those up on our website, on our beer locator, if you're looking to try them out.
Totally. And another little Easter egg is that logo. Is really cool can art, and it actually came from an artist, Carl Joe Williams, who we met through Indigo Arts Alliance, which is another nonprofit that we work with here in Portland. Yeah,
they are one of our community partners, nonprofit partners. They are our charitable partner of the month in the tasting room.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and they introduced us to Carl, and this was the first beer label that Carl worked on, and it was just a great collaboration. He's actually based out of New Orleans, and so we were able to hop on a call a few times with him and just get to know him, and he got to know us a little bit better. And so we worked together, and he came up with this can label that's super vibrant and eye-catching. So.
Yeah. Totally.
And Indigo Arts Alliance, they're a super cool nonprofit here based in Portland. They're an artist residency and incubator here. And so they're committed to the artistic development of Black and brown artists. And so we've worked with artists in residence through them for a few years, and we have a great partnership. And so we were able to work with them to find a artist to collaborate on the Montclair beer with.
It's very true. Yep. And one of their founders, I think, is a big fan of North Sky, which is very fun. Our North Sky Stout. That was a nice added benefit. It doesn't. Our nonprofit partners don't need to like our beer, but it's always fun when they do.
It's true.
And just like the other little aspect of this is just we met both of these different breweries friends through the Barrel and Flow Fest, which is in Pittsburgh. What was it called before?
Fresh Fest.
Fresh Fest, and then became the Barrel and Flow Fest. Got ranked that festival ranked by USA Today as the best beer festival last year. Awesome. It's all about bringing together different cultures. It's about celebrating Black-owned breweries. It's about just like really moving the brewing industry forward as far as like just inclusivity and honestly just like really cool vibes and transfer of ideas. So it just seems like such a energetic, like it's so much more than a beer festival.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, I've heard really fantastic things about it.
Yeah, we got to meet Dave Bracey, who was the founder. He came by 2019?
No, it was literally right before the pandemic. It was the last thing I did before everything shut down. We went to dinner at Jay's Oyster.
Oh man!
And then there was the next day. It was like, everybody get out! But but I'll always remember that because he was like, yeah, your beer's good, but the water here is spectacular.
Yeah, he was definitely commenting about the water.
So
anyway, both those beers, super good. Come out to try them. They're both at the tasting room and in these other locations. Well, the next beer we have, this one is actually, I think it is officially our first seasonal beer. We have not ever called a beer seasonal. We've called them limited release. We've called them specialty release. But this is the first seasonal beer Allagash Brewing Company will have ever released.
Surf House.
It's a lager, dry hopped with Ella. And rather than having Liz and I talk about it, I actually got to go talk with the brewer whose idea the beer came up through our pilot system, Joe Jr. And so I actually went, and just out of, was it serendipity, it happened to be that we were brewing the first batch of Surf House to be released to everyone else, or to the whole world to enjoy, or to our distribution footprint to enjoy. And so... let's go to that audio. I'm just down on the brew deck, so apologies if there's a little bit of brewing noise in the background, but hopefully it sounds good.
Brewing stuff. Brewing stuff. Brewing stuff.
All right, now we're recording. So, Joe Jr., we're brewing your beer.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Surf House now, but it started its life as From Maine with Love number 29.
Of course you'd remember that number. I wrote it down
Of course,
just to make sure, but yeah. So, where did the idea come from for the beer?
So there was a day, I don't remember what the other pilot beer was being brewed, but Patrick Chavanel very politely said, hey, you should go up the stairs and you should try this flaked corn that we got in from Maine Malt House. And I said, okay. And so I went up, I grabbed a handful, and I tossed them in my mouth and said, wow, I love this ingredient. It was these hearty little corn flakes. They tasted delicious. They had a lot of interesting flavor. And I said, I want to make a beer with this, but I want to make a beer with the most amount of this that I physically can. So that's where it started, and it kind of just blossomed from there and got to submit a pilot idea. It was cataloged and then became a From Maine with Love, and then beyond that got to be what it is now, Surf House, a national release, which is cool.
Super cool. Yeah. And your blog, the submission was named Cornella, if I remember.
So it was called Cornella with a backwards R, with spelled with a K. And that was from, Korn, obviously the band, which I just thought would be funny to have a beer that involved Korn the band and all. And then the main hop in it was Ella, which is an Australian hop. Yeah. I would say it just blossomed from there.
What is what's the flavor profile of Ella?
The flavor profile of Ella is, I would describe it as orange blossom, flowery, spicy, while also having some really nice citrus notes, kind of some sweeter citrus and maybe even a little bit of lemon or lime in there. But it has some noble lineage, and so that's really what drew me to using it in a lager.
Nice.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's because it's for bittering too, right? It's bittering and dry hops.
I would say actually on the large scale we changed the bittering hop, but I would say for finishing hop and then dry hop it's all Ella.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. And actually, fun piece of trivia: a corn CD somehow made it to the brewery, and I don't know why, but I now have it.
Oh, cool.
So
awesome.
I'm connected to this beer.
That's great.
I have this corn
Totally.
CD.
Well, earlier today when we were mashing in the first batches of corn, we did listen to the entirety of Follow the Leader. So we got our dose.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
we
that's
got
the one I have. I was going to say,
full dose of corn.
all I remember from corn is Freak on a Leash.
I think one album a day is probably what is medically recommended. I don't think you can do more than that.
Heart rate starts getting a little high.
Yeah.
Blood pressure goes up.
Exactly.
But that's awesome, dude. I'm super pumped. I'm super psyched about this beer. I'm psyched that it's going to be a 12-packs. I'm psyched that it's just it kind of, I don't know, it came together super well.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited too.
Thank you.
It's
Good job.
Thank you. It's an honor, and it makes me feel really special that people appreciated the beer enough that it's going to have an Allagash tag on it and be in an Allagash can and be in our footprint. So yeah, it's an honor. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about it? Or
No, it's I don't know, just it's a perfect beer for enjoying during the summer. So it's like, that was my thinking was I want to drink this outside, on a beach, on a boat, on a mountain. It's a beer to take outside with you. So I'm glad people are able to enjoy it that way, and we'll be able to enjoy it soon. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, well, Joe Jr., thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
See you, dude.
Yeah, cheers.
Cool.
And we're back.
That was fun.
Yeah. I hope you didn't even listen to it. You haven't even listened to it yet. You say that because you have confidence in us.
I have confidence in Joe. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I have
he's
confidence in Joe too.
Yeah.
Not so much myself. That beer actually also has a really cool label. The Surf House can design, we go through this iterative process where we try all different sorts of things, and then we pick a direction we like, and then we really kind of dig into it. And so the sort of mantra we had when we were coming up with this can design was like, this is surf in the terms of you're by the sea, not surf in the terms of you are going surfing exclusively. So the main color of the can is this really nice light sky blue. But around this Chevy Chalet, we have all sorts of just beach items. There's a surfboard, but there's a little beach chair and like a barbecue and pail and just fun stuff you'd be doing in the surf. So easy drinking beer, perfect for taking out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the little seagull. I love seagulls. They're
Little
so
seagull on the camp
pesky.
fan. Yeah, it's good.
It's
It's nice.
summer in a can.
And it's just a super fun beer. It was a fun beer to work on. And so that one's coming in 6-packs of 12-ounce cans and 12-packs of 12-ounce cans in March.
Yeah, so that'll be heading out across our entire distribution footprint. So
Totally.
be on the look. Super easy drinking, going to be delicious. Spring through summer.
Yeah, can't wait to share it. Awesome.
And then, that's first of our seasonals. So you'll have to
Oh, yeah.
stay tuned for our next seasonals, which will come out in fall
Yeah,
and at the end of 2024.
exactly. Yeah, that'll be fun. And the last one is it's something that I'm super excited about, and we're definitely going to have a future episode with Patrick Chavanel on to talk more in depth about this project and these projects that we're doing. This is blueberry wine.
I am so excited about this. I love
Have
wine.
you had it?
I have had versions of it. I haven't had this one.
Oh.
But yeah, I love wine. I really like blueberry wine, and I guess I just never I didn't see wine for us in our future, and it's so exciting to have that license and be able to make this. Because I think not only is it expand our offerings in the tasting room, but on the innovation front, it's just a very cool use of local fruit. So
Yeah, I feel like this one came it was like such a surprise because it was like, I knew we were doing cider, and it was like one of those things where basically someone told me like, oh, with that cider license, we also get a wine license. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And oh, by the way, we're also making wine. And it's like, what?
yeah, it's so good.
And yeah, and they like they did with the cider, it's just, I think it exceeds my expectations because
Yeah, and I think living in Maine and being very passionate about blueberries as we are, you'll see blueberry wines around the state. There are definitely a few of them out there. And so for anyone who has never even thought of the concept of blueberry wine, I think it is sort of interesting to wrap your head around because you might think it's sweet, but it really, the way that we've made it, and I've had some others, it's really not sweet. It's pretty dry, but it's just a great, really interesting fruit.
Totally, yeah, and that's like such an important point because it's like I think when you hear cider or I feel like there's historical baggage on fruit wines and ciders that is like, oh, that's gonna be sweet, or oh, that's gonna be a little too much. It's gonna be really strongly flavored. Whereas like this blueberry wine in particular, it tastes like wine. Like it tastes like a nice red wine, like a Merlot, or like it's a lighter sort of red wine-ish thing, but it's like it's just so cool because you get these, like we've done a couple tastings of them and tried to kind of identify the flavor notes and stuff. It's like there's like a blueberry pie sort of blueberry flavor where it's not like the fresh blueberry, but it's like it's already been macerated a little bit. It's already kind of just like that's like those notes are coming out of it. And then also you get some of a cherry flavor. And then there's also a spice, like mulling spice component. Not that it's spicy, but just that like beneath the surface, they're just some really cool, deep spice notes that it all comes together to just be like a really nice balanced wine.
Yeah, I just popped in the tasting room at lunch and saw a couple people drinking it, so it's always great to see. Yeah. And those blueberries, they come from our friends over at Passamaquoddy Wild Blueberry Company. They're out of Columbia Falls in Maine. We've worked with them a few years now on beers, and I think we've done they use their blueberries in our version of triple.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And I don't know, there's been a few over the years, so to be able to continue working with them on a wine is very cool.
That's been very cool. Yeah, and it's like it's so cool to be able to use wild blueberries too. Like just recently harvested. It's just a very particular flavor.
Yep.
And so we've got that blueberry wine. That's at the brewery only for right now. And we also have ciders for other folks who are maybe interested in beer, but also other options, interested in sort of less glutenful options. And then more stuff on the docket. I'll give you even a sneak peek. This is why you listen to the podcast, because of secret information. We have a honeyberry wine also coming out.
In the works.
Honeyberry wine. I actually tried that yesterday, and it is real good.
Oh, yeah?
Really good.
Yeah, I think we have a real love for honeyberries here. I don't know that any other brewery is
no one else knows what it is,
dedicated to honeyberries as we are. But they are a really interesting fruit.
Yeah.
They kind of look like square, globular blueberries.
They're kind of
the nicest way.
They're kind of unfortunate looking. Like there's no real good way to talk about it. All the comparisons you could give are kind of like,
They're bell shaped, right?
Yeah, shaped like a bell. Yeah, but they're
some of them.
But they're such a cool flavor because they're basically like between so many other flavors. It's like blueberry, cherry, raspberry, blackberry. Like there's a little bit of that all in there. They're pretty tart too.
Yep. Yeah.
So we had to actually blend this honeyberry wine with cider.
Oh.
So it's actually a blend.
Oh.
You never know because it just looks like honeyberry wine, but
oh, that's cool.
it's cool.
All right.
It's a really cool one.
Can't wait to try that.
Yeah, that'll be another brewery-only one as well.
Great.
That's what I had to talk about.
Yeah, stuff happening.
Much stuff happening, and I'm excited to be doing the podcast again.
Yeah.
Feels great.
Yeah. So, what do we got coming up for season 3?
Oh man, you don't even know. I don't even know.
We don't.
No, honestly, I think what we do have coming up is some more of this, some more updates of things we're excited about, because we just realized like we've done a lot of deep dives on different things, but there's just honestly so much that we're doing constantly here with pilot beers and with new initiatives and with nonprofit partners that I think we're just hoping to really be able to give you more of a look behind all of the fun stuff going on here at the brewery.
Chat with some of the other folks here at Allagash.
Oh yeah, definitely chat with some other folks too.
Yep.
Should be really fun.
Cool. All right,
Awesome.
Brett.
Well,
good
thank you,
chatting
Liz.
with you.
Yeah, good chatting with you. They'll see you out working
Yeah.
outside of the room. This has been an Allagash Brewing Company production. If you have something you'd like us to talk about or a question for our team, just send us an email at podcast@allagash.com. As always, thanks for listening.